them career fields. And if you do, they're very rarely introduced to people in low income communities because they don't have the teachers or the equipment to bring these skills to those communities. And so, when I wake up every day, I always think of how can I change these statistics, right? How do I see more of my people have economic breakthroughs, right? So that's why, as part of our program, we partner with Junior Achievement to teach financial literacy because I care about the whole person, and I want to see communities change. We talk about places like Chicago and call it Chirac, and these names, but we don't provide them with some kind of economic mobility to get out those situations. And so I think our program provides those pathways to economic mobility that we have lacked for so long.
I'm really digging this idea of the economic mobility through exposure to things that, are kind of foreign sounding or looking and just, oh, I never thought about that. So you mentioned earlier that many of the careers in cybersecurity do not require a college education. I won't lie, I am so loving that. Not to say that I do not um, support college education, but here in America, it comes with a large saddlebag of cash. And so I'm very interested in hearing what are some of the pathways to really getting into that field that do not require college education, because college isn't for everyone, and those who want to take on that adventure certainly will, and those who would rather not would like to not have to go to you know Ross for a job.
And I 100% agree with you, right? And so we focus on two career fields. That's information security analyst and system and network administrator. Uh, and so with that, we have a 2-year program for our high school that we prepare students for the Net Plus and Security Plus certifications. Um, these are
Oh,
these are industry certifications that you have to have a Security Plus to even step on and touch a government computer, right? So these are industry certifications that um, prepare a pathway. But beyond that, what we do is we partner with companies, right? So we have 5 companies that we're working with who also provide mentorship. And the goal is as these companies providing mentorship, they will also provide paid interns because we know
hmm.
people in our community, right? Let's be
Mm-hmm.
real, right? So everyone's like, you should like strive for an internship and go take this, and it should be free. Well, people in our community can't afford to go to a free
Right.
internship. So then we have the privilege who can do this, and then we have other people who have to go work because they can't afford to do this, and so they don't get those opportunities. So again, we care about the whole person, and so we are saying, how do we get you experience? How do we get you mentorship while you are still in high school? So when you come out of high school, you will have the soft skills, the financial literacy, and the tech skills to actually get a job. Now, I have a master's degree, so I am not against going to college, but what we tell students is we will provide a pathway. Um, I'm not saying you don't need college, because in order to go up into the higher levels of cybersecurity, you will need some college. What I say is, why don't you have a company pay for it? Why don't,
Yes.
or at least have the money where you can afford it,
Yeah.
um, and you can supplement that income with your job. But
Mm-hmm.
there's such a shortage out there. Why don't you get your foot in the door and let the company pay for it, as my company paid for my master's degree?
Oh, that is absolutely wonderful. Look, like I said, I'm not against the college because it can definitely be a big boost to your earning potential and everything. But, then you stuck paying back for a while, depending on, how you work it out. Some people like yourself, you were able to have a company pay for it, which is like the best thing in the world because they're still paying you too. You're getting it on both ends. And so let me ask, so the working with the high school students, it's more vocational sort of thing then, or it's just
Yeah,
we just call it like, training
yeah, I would
in
say
general.
it's the new vocational.
Okay.
I think a lot of, but to be honest, I think a lot of STEM career fields are the new vocational, right? So there's a
Mm,
lot of STEM career fields, coding, software developers. They don't need college degrees, right?
right.
So like we keep hammering people to go to college, but back in the day when I was in school, you had like construction and auto mechanics
Hmm.
and those things in school. So then they became uncool because we wanted everyone to go to college, right? But now you have these high paying STEM career fields that you can get in the door entry level without a college degree. Um, Companies like IBM, Microsoft, Google, Facebook, they do not require a college degree. They require competency. Right? So if you can get a student competency while they're in high school, then you can get them a job coming out of high school. Um, Again, companies are short in these career fields, and they're trying to figure out a new way of developing pipelines into their organizations where they can feel like they can get top talent, not pay as much um, for a kid coming right out of high school, out of college, because now they have to wait an additional 4 years when they can like start like filling that pipeline earlier.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Well, would you like to share a little bit more about the why can I not get my mind right? The spark the spark mindset camp.
Yeah, so our camps are a 2 weekend. So they are um, a Saturday and Sunday, and they're from 2.5 hours. Right? And the purpose of the camps is really what we say intro to cybersecurity and advance. Right. So the camp is basically a shortened version of our middle school program. Right. So basically, our middle school program is an after school program that's like a couple of hours a week. The camp is all that information condensed.
Okay, well, let me ask this about your camps. In today's current climate, and I really hate bringing Rona up, but the question is, are you all doing this in person or are we doing these virtually?
Oh, we're doing
And
this virtual.
okay, and so has your middle school and high school um,
After
programs
school
have
programs?
yeah have they been um, transitioning well with the current climate, or are we kind of putting those on hold for a little while?
We're putting the after school programs on hold for a while, only because, right? So that all this is virtual and they would transition well. Problem is you have two issues, right? One, you have schools.
Mhm.
Schools are currently still up in the air on how they're going to run school, right? And so not to dog schools, but they didn't make a decision earlier during this time of they all made the decision that they were going to go back to school. And when that didn't happen, they didn't have a backup plan. So
Mhm.
schools are still like into transitioning on how they're going to run their schools, which makes it difficult for parents to like figure out what they're going to do for an after school program, right?
Right.
Because like with that transition. Now on the weekend, right, this is something that parents can get their kids involved in. And we look at it at two ways. One, this is, a lot of kids are not playing sports right now. So a lot of kids are not in after school programs. So this is a time where they can interact with different students across the country. Two, parents, we have your kids for 2.5 hours, right? And so that gives you a chance to go out and like do something, right? Because like we have them for a good chunk of their time. Our programs are interactive, so they do projects within there. They play games, um, they do presentations, but it's interactive, where we're not doing this and we're just talking at them the whole entire time.
So that sounds really great because I think a lot of kids, with school, many of them are remote learning. So they are literally sitting there
Right.
for a good chunk of time. And so you're saying that you're making it interactive. So you're not just giving them skills about cyber education, you're also giving them speaking skills. Like, what are some of the other skills that kids are really learning and honing by joining your program other than just the cybersecurity skills?
Yeah, so we focus on 5 skills. We call them our 21st century skills, and they are critical thinking, problem solving, adaptability, collaboration, and communication. Right? These are the main skills that our kids are going to need to go into not just the cybersecurity field, but to any STEM career field, pretty much any job, right? And so with that, they're also presenting. They're learning to talk to each other. So they're doing like presentations for each other. So we had them look up like just one example. We talk about the different types of hackers. We have each student pick a hacker that interests them. In that breakout rooms, they're like creating these mini presentations, and then they're presenting to their classmates why this hacker, is important to them. So they get to like take ownership. So we're like, go research, right? So we're teaching them how to take ownership of their education, researching skills, presenting skills. Um, and we call on them a lot to interact as well. So they can't just sit there and like kind of be quiet, because it helps them with speaking in front of people that they don't know, right? So it's different when you're like with your classmates and you start to get to know people, but like they don't know any of these people coming into the classroom.
Right, right. So when a student is interested, they can be anywhere. So this program is nationwide because it's virtual.
Yes, they can be anywhere. We normally make the times where it's convenient for all the coast. And so, yeah, they can definitely be anywhere. We've also talked to some people in other countries as well.
Oh,
How
that's
long has the
exciting.
program been in existence? Can you tell us maybe some success stories?
So like we've really, so right now our high school program, we're running a high school program in New Orleans right now. But our camps literally just started, our virtual camp started this summer, right? We were doing the following year, we had just launched our camps with our virtual reality, because when we were doing in person, we had kids go into virtual reality and see different concepts of cybersecurity, and we gamified it. So they got to play games and do that. And so next year, we're going to actually use augmented reality, because
Oh,
almost every student has a phone and a tablet, and it breaks that accessibility barrier. So we're actually have had people interested. I would say 60% of our students who've gone through have been interested to go to our advanced program that we're launching next year. We just were working with the Women in Technology in Georgia. And so we just had 8 students go through. 7 of them are working with our team right now to do video testimonials. So those will be out soon. And 7 out of 8 definitely are going to our advanced class as well.
That's awesome.
it
I
is.
think, people listening to this, they may not have, a child that is of age who can join the program, but they may want to donate. Where can someone, if they're interested in supporting your program, how can they go about doing that?
So two ways they can reach out to myself or our team at info@sparkmindset.com, or they can go to the website where there is a way to invest in a kid online. So they can go to www.sparkmindset.com and go under sponsorships, and there are ways that they can sponsor. You can sponsor a child, or you can sponsor multiple children, or
Oh,
you can
that's
partner with us.
lovely. That
So
is lovely. Well, can I ask this question about
mhm.
the age range? Because you did mention middle school and high school children. So does that mean that we're dealing with, 11 years and up? Or do we have something that is also geared to a younger demographic or just,
No, so we started at sixth grade.
okay, no problem.
Couldn't go younger because, and the reason being is because we initially started at high school, right? So we
Mhm.
started at high school, and then I realized like the learning curve, while it's achievable, is easier if I get you at middle school because you don't have the concepts of you can't, right? Those have
Mhm.
been baked in, especially with our young women, right? So trying to get women in high school level into STEM or any cybersecurity career, um, if you don't start at middle school, it's challenging, right? I agree we should start at high school, but we also opened up our program for adults because, and we're doing that.
Oh.
So we're doing that in January because, again, this field needs people. And so our whole goal is to create a pipeline. So that pipeline is basically high school and adults, but middle school is like feeding into the high school. We have to provide opportunities for people in our community. Um, Initially, I fought against doing that. I only want to work with kids, but based on the Rona, and people are losing their jobs, or they're being forced to go work at Ross, and our community is the highest hit, right? We're the most ones that's going to be impacted because we're at the front line with no insurance. And so when I saw these things like that, I was like, okay, whether people I wanted to or not, like I had to provide this for adults.
Well, that's commendable. I'm really interested in the adult program. It's not quite ready yet. You said it should be starting in January.
Starts in
So
January.
can you give us a sneak peek into some of the, or
Yeah.
I mean, if it's secret, it's
No,
okay.
it's not.
But,
It's not secret.
just
So
to what we
basically,
plan on moving.
what we're doing is we've taken our high school curriculum and we shorten it, right?
Oh,
When we look at high school students we create a program because we knew they had other classes, right? And so this one's a very condensed version of that. Um, and so you don't have to have any skills. And so what we say is come in, no skills. Our first three courses is like getting you up to speed to jump into these career fields. So we teach you the prereqs as part of our program. Um, I will say normally it would take a year because the first 6 months are working on the Net Plus certification. The second 6 months you're working on the Security Plus certification. And it's the same setup as the high school. So we're going to partner with organizations. We're going to get you mentorships and hopefully provide you a pipeline into a job. The cool thing that we're doing, and we're doing this in Colorado right now, is we're working. Um, it's called the Employer Training Provider List. And so it's like workforce centers have money, government funding to help students from 16 to 24 years old, right? And so to so we're in a process of getting like registered and approved in that program. Once we're approved in that program, we're going to go to all the workforce centers and offer the same program because all workforce centers have some of these dollars that I'm talking about for that age group. And so that's another thing that we're doing where the burden doesn't fall on the parents, or the individual, but it falls on a organization to help empower them.
oh, I
So
like this idea.
I'm wondering right now, one of the things that you mentioned is that the Black community is being hit really hard. And I know that it is your goal to really serve those communities that are facing poverty. some of those communities are really struggling with devices for their kids. So the parents may be interested in taking the program. You know, right now we've heard of people who their kids are using cell phones and they have to share them with their siblings. Does your program, if a student is in need of a device in order to participate, is there a way for them to participate? How would that work?
So we at this time don't provide devices, but we make it where they can be on any device. So they can actually take our courses on tablets. Most kids are getting tablets from their schools. You know, if there is a library open, they can go to their library and be a part of our program. So right now, we just don't have the economic means to provide additional equipment, but we do provide partial scholarships or full scholarships for those in those communities. So off the bat, they get 60% off the price of the program. If we had no sponsors, they would get 60% discount in those communities as a way for us to empower people in those communities.
That's incredible. Thanks for sharing that. I am looking on your website right now, and something really jumped out at me. And it says that there is a financial literacy piece to what you guys share. And as someone who is a mom, as just someone who I grew up and I just found out that financial literacy is one of the most important aspects of adulthood. And it's something that you're not necessarily getting in the educational sector. You're not taking personal finance
Yeah, you're not
classes
getting
in
that at all.
undergrad. I took them in college, and I mean, they have made a world of difference in my life. So can you kind of describe that piece? Because some people may be thinking, well, I don't know about this whole cybersecurity thing, but there are so many aspects, like you mentioned earlier, but this financial literacy piece could be something that could really help them. And maybe they don't know that they're interested in cybersecurity yet, but there is something in here that they can take with them and, you know, build upon it, and it can change their life.
Mm.
Yes. So in our advanced camp, we give them a snippet of some financial literacy. In the programs, we partner with Junior Achievement, right? So we partner with Junior Achievement and we teach financial literacy as part of, it's embedded in our course, right? So the students have tech time and then they have financial literacy time, right? So they get anywhere from an hour and a half a week to go through each lessons. There's 14 lessons that they will go through, teach them how to manage their money, how to like budgeting. We get into how to buy a house, a car. We get into, you know, just how to do every day, but also how to like invest their money, right? So like their money can work for them because we know that
Yes.
their money is a tool. We just not everyone in our communities has been taught how to use that tool properly. And so again, when I say we care about the whole student, right? And I agree with you, Elle, that not everyone is going to go into cybersecurity. I am not naive to believe that. What I want to do is provide you at least with the opportunity to say, well, maybe not cybersecurity, but what other STEM career field that we can go into. And so we actually do like have a Facebook page called Stepping Into STEM, and we'll be launching that. And what that is we will have people come on our program and talk about the different STEM career fields that they can go into besides cybersecurity, because this is why I'm happy to be on your show, but as many opportunities that we can give people to hear about the different up and coming STEM career fields, the better, right? And so I look at it as if you don't decide to go into cybersecurity, who else is doing something that I can push you in that direction? Where is it coding or data analytics or other STEM career fields? And so when you leave our program, we give you the basics knowledge of cybersecurity, which you're going to need in your everyday life anyway. You get some 21st century skills, because I don't like the word soft skills. And then you get, how to manage how to manage your money, right? Like, these are all the things I wish I could, like, I had when I was in high school. Like, I never forget when I took my first critical thinking class, and it felt like the world was just opened up to me, right? Because I was like, wait, what? I mean, I don't have to listen to, like, I can actually go, like, research when someone says something. Like, I don't have to take it for, like, face value because someone on Fox News said, this is how the world looks like, and or someone from CNN said something. I can actually go fact check that. And so, yeah, we need to prepare our kids to be empowered in all aspects, to be really good adults, and to be able to take care of the generation behind them, like I'm trying to take care of the generation, their generation.
I love this idea. It's very forward thinking and yet backward thinking at the same time, because a lot of other cultural groups do this for their children. They have generational things in place to help them navigate the transition between young adulthood and adulthood. And they have these pieces of encouragement that show them the way to move within society and move successfully. And, it sounds like what you're saying is just to give them the skills that they need to succeed, so that regardless of what their current situation is or what may look like few options, that there's a much larger world out there that they certainly have access to and can tap into. And it doesn't matter whether they're the only Black woman or the only Latino male in that space, but they'll do just fine and they'll be able to stomp with the big dogs. I can say that. And be confident in themselves. I really, think that's important for us to give to our children, because we had this before, dealing with the total person and giving them a well-rounded means of looking at the world.
Yes, I think that's, for me, that's how you break poverty. There's three things that keep people in poverty: lack of job opportunities, lack of access, and lack of awareness. Right?
So
People
as
don't,
we, go on.
I was just saying, people don't know what they don't know. Right. So sometimes we blame people for their environments. And I'm like, but you knew in fourth grade, if you did not intercede for that child, what was going to happen to them. But yet we don't, and then we get mad when they do self-fulfilling prophecies in their lives.
Yes.
So as we kind of wrap up the conversation, I'm wondering if you can kind of just tell people one more time, what is cybersecurity?
Yeah, again, cybersecurity is protecting data. Is protecting people who against unwanted access to data that they shouldn't have access to. Right. That's as simple as that I can put it, like in layman's terms, what being super technical. And so that is access, whether it's me hacking, access, whether me, I have access has been given, your credit card information has been given to me because someone hacked into it, right? But it's really protecting data from the hands of unauthorized people.
Okay.
And
That's
would you,
great to
oh,
keep in mind. Oh, go on.
yes. And would you be so kind one more time as to let everyone know where they can find more about you, Mr. Lawrence, and your Spark Mindset so that we can
Yes,
encourage.
yes. First, thank you for that. You can learn more about Spark Mindset at www.sparkmindset.com, or you can reach out to info@sparkmindset.com, and someone will be happy to reach out to you and tell you more about our programs. We are on Facebook, so we're Spark Mindset on Facebook, Stepping into STEM on Facebook, and we are also on Instagram and LinkedIn.
Well, it's been incredible hearing about the program. And I really hope that families at home are listening in and are going to go to that website, because this is something that you're doing with their children in mind. You've made it fun, engaging, and it's a program that can really just change their lives. And I think that it is so commendable and so helpful. So I thank you for taking time with us today to just kind of share with us a little bit about your world and what you do.
Yeah, thank you for having me. And we also, for you blessing us on your show, we would like to give your audience a 25% discount. So
Well, thank you.
I'm going to provide you with a code, and that code will give your audience 25% if they have to say they heard it from you. So we're going to actually send you the code. So, and then you can just distribute it as you see fit.
Okay, so what we will do, we will definitely share a little commercial. We'll do a separate commercial to put that into the podcast so that people can hear it, because we know that this program is something that people can benefit from. And that's what this podcast does. We like to share information and share programs and tell you a little bit about people so
Mhm.
that they can make informed decisions about their future. Before we go, I do want you to take a moment, because like I just said, we like to share a little bit about the person. And I want you to share why cybersecurity has really changed your life.
So I say it gave me pathways, right? Cybersecurity. While I was working at Shriver, it allowed me to progress in my job, um, and it has given me the ability to provide a pathway for other people. So at this stage in my career, I'm all about creating a legacy more than I am about creating a job. And so for me, if I can, at the end of my life, if I can change some of these statistics with the use of cybersecurity when it comes to poverty, then that's when I would say cybersecurity has really impacted my life.
That's
Excellent.
beautiful.
Well, folks, you heard it here on the Cleverly Changing podcast, and we want you to go to sparkmindset.com and learn more. And that's it.
Thank you. Thank
Thank
you for having
you.
me. Oh, I
This
love
is
having
really
this like
cool.
conversation. Yeah.